Hold on, y'all, because today's spotlight is shining directly on Claressa Shields. Or, depending on which corner of the internet you're scrolling through, Pap's side piece, Pap's situation, Pap's favorite distraction, and every other creative nickname social media has been serving up lately. Some people might even say we've officially entered duck hunting season. Now, if you remember, I talked about this not too long ago when Claressa finally revealed her next fight. And let's just say the reaction wasn't exactly standing ovation material. For months, everybody kept hearing that a huge announcement was just around the corner. Then, after all that anticipation, the news finally arrived. But this is where the conversation takes a turn. Plenty of fans aren't exactly impressed by the opponent she selected. Because when you repeatedly tell the world you're the greatest, people naturally expect you to face the toughest competition available. And wasn't Claressa the same person who brushed off Chris Cyborg as an option because she believed Cyborg was too old? She made a major issue out of Cyborg being 40 years old. Well, take a wild guess how old K. Scott is. 42. That's right, 42 years old. At some point, people start side-eyeing these explanations because the math simply isn't matching. Then another question immediately pops up. What exactly is K. Scott bringing into this matchup? Is she viewed as a dominant powerhouse? Is she known as a devastating puncher? What are we actually looking at here? Because once people started digging through the numbers, things became even more puzzling. Looking at the records, the amateur resume gets showcased first, featuring dozens of victories, 1 knockout, multiple defeats, and years of experience in the sport. But once you shift over to the professional side, the entire picture looks different. There you'll find 5 wins, 0 knockouts, and 1 loss. Seriously, somebody explain this to me. I've tried making sense of it, and I'm still confused. Every time I examine this matchup, I end up asking the exact same thing. Why? What exactly is going on here? And to be fair, this isn't intended as a shot at K. Scott. I even saw Francine Kreuzdezern, the heavy-hitting diva herself, supporting Scott online while critics were coming for her. She once again maintained that she wasn't completely healthy and that several issues connected to the weigh-in altercation with Claressa impacted her circumstances. Meanwhile, Claressa also sat down for an ESPN interview. And that timing is important. In fact, it's a huge reason those rankings suddenly became part of the discussion when they did. Those rankings appeared around early June, if memory serves me correctly, somewhere near June 5th. But what seems to be unfolding now looks like a full-scale image relaunch because Claressa's personal headlines have started overshadowing everything else. It feels like a coordinated effort to repackage Claressa Shields and introduce her all over again to a wider audience. In other words, they're reminding everybody exactly who she is. So the rankings get amplified. Claressa shows up at a WNBA game carrying her championship belt while Angel Reese is making history. Suddenly cameras are everywhere. It turns into another promotional moment. Salita Promotions pushes the coverage. Everybody jumps aboard. Then comes the official fight announcement confirming the event will be held in Atlanta. On top of that, Claressa speaks with ESPN once again. And while much of the article focused on background details and career profiles, her remarks were what grabbed my attention most. Claressa stated, "At this point in my career, every fight is about legacy." She went on to explain that every fight at this stage is about pushing her limits, elevating women's boxing, and opening doors for the next generation through her promotional work. Then she added that K. Scott is a champion she respects, but becoming undisputed at 160 pounds again begins with defeating the best. Now hold on just 1 second. Is she somehow listening to the exact same conversations fans have been having? Because that's precisely where many people keep getting hung up. No disrespect whatsoever, but a lot of fans are asking whether this opponent truly represents the very best challenge available right now. Didn't we just agree a few minutes ago that if you want to be called the best, you have to consistently face the best? I'm sorry y'all, but I simply cannot move past that point. Wait a minute. Is Claressa Shields secretly scrolling through the comments section as we speak? Somebody tell me where Claressa is because that quote instantly grabbed my attention. Becoming undisputed at 160 pounds again starts with beating the best. That's the statement that practically leaped off the page. She followed that up by saying it has always been her mindset and that she never searches for easy fights, only meaningful ones. Y'all, the irony surrounding all of this is absolutely incredible. It truly is. Then the article shifted toward comments from K. Scott. And yes, I almost said K. Squat because at this point the entire situation feels more like a reality television storyline than an actual fight promotion. Seriously, you couldn't make some of this stuff up even if you tried. Still, K. Scott sounded extremely confident in her remarks. She said the greater the challenge, the greater the opportunity, and that August 15th gives her the chance to show the world exactly what she's capable of. She also claimed she's in the best condition of her life and ready to test herself against elite competition once again. According to her, she's motivated, prepared, and determined to prove she's the best middleweight on the planet. More power to her, but you already know the first question people immediately started asking. What exactly does that paycheck look like? Now let's talk about the reactions because the internet wasted absolutely no time jumping into the conversation. We even saw a little shade coming from Franchin Cruz-Dezern, and trust me, that comment section quickly transformed into an all-out debate. One person pointed out that Claressa still never moved up to super middleweight, while another admitted they follow women's boxing closely and had never even heard of K. Scott before. Others questioned why someone constantly marketed as the best isn't taking the kind of risks they believe champions should be taking. Some commenters compared the situation to Amanda Serrano and argued that certain opponents appear far more dangerous than the matchup being announced here. Another person bluntly called it a money grab fight. Others accused Claressa of repeatedly choosing what they viewed as the safest path available. Several comments focused on K. Scott being 42 years old and questioned whether that genuinely qualifies as the toughest challenge possible. Some fans argued that champions should actively pursue opponents who create uncertainty rather than fights where the outcome feels predictable. One person joked there probably wouldn't even be a knockout. Another commenter laughed at the entire age gap discussion and said the matchup simply wasn't exciting. Then came critics who argued that several of Claressa's divisions have lacked depth compared with other weight classes. Others admitted they didn't recognize many of the names listed on her resume. A few people even said they would rather spend that day doing literally anything else than watching the fight. Some questioned why a fighter returning after years away from competition became the selected opponent in the first place. Others said Claressa lost credibility points with them because of this decision. Then the discussion got even louder. People started bringing up K. Scott's record, her inactivity, and whether this fight truly adds anything significant to Claressa's legacy. Some accused Claressa of prioritizing opponents they believe she can comfortably beat instead of pursuing the most dangerous names available. Others claimed this is exactly why she'll never be considered pound for pound #1 in their eyes. There were countless comments repeating the exact same complaint again and again and again. Why fight a 42-year-old with limited professional experience if the mission is proving greatness? Some people even joked that they had absolutely no idea who the opponent was. Others demanded that Claressa Shields' face names casual fans can actually recognize. A few suggested MMA or even bare-knuckle competition if the available boxing options have become that limited. Then there were commenters accusing her of cherry-picking, claiming she avoids certain opponents while gladly accepting others. Whether that criticism is fair or completely off base, it clearly reflects how a significant portion of the audience feels right now. And believe it or not, that's only a tiny sample of the reactions. That's not even the entire meal. That's barely the appetizer. The overall response seems to be that many fans simply aren't excited about this fight announcement. Their argument is that tougher, more established opponents appeared available and interested in fighting Claressa. Instead, they believe she's choosing someone who hasn't competed in years and whose professional resume remains relatively limited. In the minds of these critics, selecting older opponents creates the appearance of a safer matchup. They argue that age can mean slower reflexes, reduced speed, and fewer physical advantages compared to a younger champion. Whether that theory ultimately proves true remains to be seen, but one thing is absolutely certain. A lot of fans are staring at this matchup and asking the same uncomfortable question. Was this really the biggest challenge available? Significant portion of the audience feels right now. And believe it or not, that's only a tiny sample of the reactions. That's not even the entire meal. That's barely the appetizer. The overall response seems to be that many fans simply aren't excited about this fight announcement. Their argument is that tougher, more established opponents appeared available and interested in fighting Claressa. Instead, they believe she's choosing someone who hasn't competed in years and whose professional resume remains relatively limited. In the minds of these critics, selecting older options have become that limited. Then there were commenters accusing her of cherry-picking, claiming she avoids certain opponents while gladly accepting others. Whether that criticism is fair or completely off base, it clearly reflects how a significant portion of the audience feels right now. And believe it or not, that's only a tiny sample of the reactions. That's not even the entire meal. That's barely the appetizer. The overall response seems to be that many fans simply aren't excited about this fight announcement. Their argument is that tougher, more established opponents appeared available and interested in fighting Claressa. Instead, they believe she's choosing someone who hasn't competed in years and whose professional resume remains relatively limited. In the minds of these critics, selecting older opponents creates the appearance of a safer matchup. They argue that age can mean slower reflexes, reduced speed, and fewer physical advantages compared to a younger champion. Whether that theory ultimately proves true remains to be seen, but one thing is absolutely certain. A lot of fans are staring at this matchup and asking the same uncomfortable question. Was this really the biggest challenge available? Significant portion of the audience feels right now. And believe it or not, that's only a tiny sample of the reactions. That's not even the entire meal. That's barely the appetizer. The overall response seems to be that many fans simply aren't excited about this fight announcement. Their argument is that tougher, more established opponents appeared available and interested in fighting Claressa. Instead, they believe she's choosing someone who hasn't competed in years and whose professional resume remains relatively limited. In the minds of these critics, selecting older opponents